Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon White. So, as you can see, we are still in the middle of the road where there are lots of currents going around. But we aren't gonna get ourselves out of here. Then we're gonna reach for the next road. And it is essentially, the whole entire route is essentially a whole entire island. That being a Route 18. Now within this route, now the Pokemon that you can find here, now you can still find Watchhogs, Frosocks, Dwebbles, and Scraggies. And if it just so happened to go for the dark grass, that is where you'll be able to encounter the evolution of Dwebble there. And then when it comes to the water, the same ordeal. The Pokemon you find in the water, it is essentially the same ordeal as in Route 17. But however, for the Pokemon that is swarming here, it is actually a execute. So you just have to be lucky that you can try to find execute swarming here. Oh, but anyways, yep, here it is. Yep, here's where we get to the encounter of the evolution of Dwebble. Crustle. Yeah, the big crustacean with the very big rock shell is back. And get this, now with it in the anime, the anime is actually the only time with it in this whole entire franchise where we actually get to see not only Dwebbles but also Crustles when they don't have the shells on. Yeah, the anime is the only time that we ever really get to see that. The games themselves really don't take advantage of, the fact that we definitely know what Dwebbles and Crustles look like without their shells. But they never really get to, but the games don't really get to utilize, like Dwebbles and Crustles. So when they don't have their shells on. Yeah, I just find that a bit odd to me. Well, whatever. But anyways, now as you can see, but as you can also tell, this route is essentially like you could never say. This is an island where you don't really have to go to. That is if you don't care about trying to get everything shit in the game. But however, for those of you who actually do want to 100% complete the game, then you actually do have to come here. For not one, but for two things. Now, the first thing is that this house is that this little house right here. Now, first off, we have this guy who's gonna tell you about certain thing that he really wants to have half the items that you get by utilizing a Rock Smash with. Yeah, but however, and if you just happen to find anything that you can give him, then he'll actually will give you a good chunk of money with it. For it. So if you essentially want to expand if you want to like be able to get more money, then you need to go here. And then we have this guy right here. he says that he found this egg in Relic Castle that he will give us. That he will give you. But however, if you already have a full party, like I do right now, then you're not gonna be able to pick this up until you go back to a Pokemon Center. Yeah, put away at least one of them, then come back here again. Yeah, that's a bit of a messed up thing, right? But anyways, now also for this woman is where you could get yourself a free heal up. Yeah, as I explained to you guys previously about it. But anyways, now as for the Pokemon that actually hatches from that now as for the Pokemon that actually hatches from that egg, it is actually the very first ever a bug and fire type Pokemon, and that Pokemon being a Larvesta. Now the main reason why I actually wanted to pass on an egg anyway, because there is a much more easier way for you to get Larvesta in this game. And I mean a much more simpler way for you to be able to get Larvesta. Yeah, and that's something that we're gonna have to wait until post-game for. But trust me, it'll definitely be a lot more worth it than getting this Larvesta now. Because, well, you see, Larvesta does have a evolution. But, however, if you want to get this evolution, you actually have to wait until Larvesta gets to level 59. Yeah, essentially, way before you even get to freaking post-game, in order for you to actually evolve it. So, yeah, getting this Larvesta now, it's not exactly gonna be all that worth it, really. Which is, like I said, yeah, it is better for you to wait until post-game so that we can definitely get the much better way for you to be able to get a Larvesta. Yeah, but of course, yeah, I'll explain. But as I said, I'll explain what that is after we're done. Once we actually get to that portion. But anyways, now I have to take care of this Audino, who apparently, yeah, who really did really well in utilizing that goddamn friggin' attract. Yeah, come on, Embor, I want you to snap out of it. Oh, come on! Yeah, this is what I really dislike about attracts. Yeah, you essentially get immobilized like almost all the goddamn time, man. Jeez. But anyways, there we go. You're out of here. Okay, now for the second reason as to why you would want to come here. Now, for those of you who care about 100% completing now if you want to 100% complete the game, it's by picking up this item, which is actually the HM Waterfall. So, if you want to be able to gain access to every location in the game, then you actually have to come here and get a waterfall from there. So, yeah, for those of you who didn't even bother to go here, then you're definitely gonna miss out on a waterfall, which may leave you out of some important things that we're actually going to see later on. But however, though, waterfall really doesn't become really all that important until post game. So honestly, you don't have to bother with waterfall right now. Yeah, well, Yeah, I would say this. Yeah, you don't really have to bother with Waterfall right now. Yeah, you can actually wait until we. Yeah, you can actually wait until you actually get to post game. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I'm still having no luck of trying to find either sock or throw. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Now here's where we get to the introduction of a much more higher class trainer than the ace trainers. Now these guys are called veterans. And veterans not only have much more tougher Pokemon, but also their movesets are actually more unique. And for what I mean by that is, some of the moves are actually moves that can only be learned by utilizing TMs. The veterans are the only regular class trainers where they actually teach their Pokemon TMs. Meaning, now you may never know which moves that they actually are going to be using. And, oh boy, here we go. Yep, this guy now has, what we're gonna see is the evolution of Darmanitan. Darmanitan! Yeah, there it is. The very hard hitter Darmanitan. Even by just one attack, yeah, Darmanitan can hit very hard and can instantly just KO your Pokemon. Yeah, even after I lowered the Darmanitan's attack, it was still able to knock out my Rock very easily. Yeah, Darumaka's really become a really major threat, especially after they friggin' evolve. Yeah. So that's why if you're going up against a Darmanitan, I would definitely recommend you utilizing a Pokemon that has really good defenses. So that you'll be able to at least be able to tank at least a few hits from Darmanitan. But anyways, now we're just gonna be dealing with his own message now. Okay, now as we are just gonna go through this. Now I guess one thing that actually I forgot to mention. Yeah, from the first time that we saw a Scolipede, from not only the first time that we've seen a Scolipede, but also, now that our Pignite is now a Emboar, the Pokemon whenever a Pokemon that is really heavy actually gets sent out in battle, when they actually land, they actually hit the ground so hard, that they actually create a little a dust cloud around them. No, a few dust clouds near them. Yeah, and I think, and I believe this is actually the only generation in the entire franchise that it actually does that. Yeah, for when we actually get to the when we actually get to the 3D titles, they don't actually utilize those dust clouds so like they do here. Very specifically for the Pokemon that are really heavy. Yeah, so if it just so happen to encounter if it just so happen to be battling a Snorlax, then you will not see any of the dust clouds. Honestly, I actually do find, honestly, I really do find that it's actually a really neat touch-up that they actually did for this, a very neat touch-up that he actually did for this generation. Yeah, the heavier the Pokemon, the more heavier that they actually will slow, that they actually will slam the ground. Yeah, as soon as they actually come out of the Pokeball. Oh yeah, now you're seeing here. Now we have a little island that actually holds a laboratory, which is actually called the P2, the P2 laboratory. Oh, here we go. Yep. Now this scientist has the evolution of Trevish, Garbodor. Now, yep, here we have the Pokemon that the majority of fans really don't like that much. Yeah, which was really odd that, which was really odd, despite the hatred that Garbodor got. That, yeah, despite the hatred that Garbodor gets, that it's still, apparently, that it still managed to get a freaking G-Max form in Sword and Shield. And just like with Audino only getting the only Gen 5 Pokemon to get a Mega Evolution, Garbodor is the only Gen 5 Pokemon to get a G-Max form. Yeah, what is it with Gen 5 and only getting one form to them? Like, jeez. But if everyone wants you to be that guy, you'll be able. Here's what you'll be able to get the TM for: Thunderbolt. So you just so happen to have a really good special attacker. Then here's where you can definitely utilize that Thunderbolt. Oh yeah, now with this lab here. Now, while it may not look like much, but however though, this lab actually is, however, the P2 lab is actually the laboratory. It is actually the secret lab for Team Plasma. Yeah, that's right, everyone. Team Plasma actually utilizes that secret lab, and their main purpose for utilizing that lab it's because they were working on developing working on some very unknown research. But however, if you just so happen to have the very research that they were working on, and then when you actually show up at the P2 laboratory with it, then a researcher will show up telling you that he's actually surprised that you actually have it, and then after you defeat him, then that's when you'll be able to get some drives from him. And the drives and also the drives themselves are different depending on the version that you are playing. Now in Black and in Pokemon Black, now in a Pokemon Black, he will give you the Shock Drive and the Burn Drive. And if you are playing for White 2, then he'll give you the Douse Drive and chill drive. And what these drives are actually for is actually are actually for the Pokemon that Team Plasma actually created, and that Pokemon is actually called a Genesect. Now, yeah, that's right. That's right. Now we have another Pokemon that you can only get through an event, and also everyone, depending on the drive that a Genesect has, you'll notice that little light on top of Genesect will change. Actually, will change depending on the drive that Genesect has on it, and this also goes into a very unique move that only Genesect has. A move called a Technoblast. The type for Technoblast gets changed depending on the drive that Genesect has on it. Now, first off, when Genesect is not holding a drive, its light will be orange, and a Technoblast will be a normal type move. Oh yes, right. As you can see, yeah, never just able to go here. Yeah, you'll be able to get the TM for telekinesis. Yeah, a move that I still have yet to use to this day. And honestly, I still have no plans on doing so. And with that just about covers everything that I'm going to show off in terms of... Excuse me. Yeah, that's about everything I'm going to show off in terms of Route 18 and also the P2 laboratory. Yeah, now I'm just going to be getting some more experience in at the big stadium and small courts. But anyways, in the meantime, yeah, I'm just gonna continue with Genesect. But anyways, now, for when Genesect is holding the shock drive, its light will turn yellow, and a Technoblast will become a electric type move. Then, for when it is holding the burn drive, the light will turn red, and a Technoblast will become a fire type move. When it is holding the chill drive, the light will turn white, and a Technoblast will become a ice type move. And finally, when Genesect has the Douse drive, the light will turn blue, and a Technoblast will become a water type move. So essentially, but however, now I guess I should say this to you guys as well. No matter the type, no matter the type of drive that you give to Genesect, or even if you don't, Genesect's overall typing, that's a being Bug and Steel, will not change. So essentially, yeah. Even if Genesect does have the Douse drive, you could probably still KO Genesect with a simple flamethrower anyway. So yeah. Yeah, as you probably Genesect, and I guess I should also say about Genesect, considering that it's a mythical Pokemon, Genesect really doesn't get utilized all that much. Yeah, there's barely even any times that we ever really get to see Genesect in anything. Yeah, the only times that we ever really get to see Genesect was in the anime. Now, first off, there was actually one episode, there was actually one episode in the anime where N was trying to find what Team Plasma was doing. Now, he actually discovered the very same lab where Team Plasma created the Genesect. And also those very same Genesect that we saw in that episode actually gets, now all those Genesect actually get utilized in their own movie. The movie where the Genesect were trying to find a home. But however, the Genesect were very hostile. It was more so the red Genesect. AKA the shiny Genesect. Really didn't want anyone else to taking orders. So, and he essentially controlled all of the young Genesect to attack others. And it was also the very same movie that actually introduced Mega Evolution in the anime. But however, considering that, of how to utilize Mega Evolution was not fully processed until Gen 6. Meaning that, the way that Mewtwo Mega evolved in that movie was something that only Mewtwo could really do. Oh yeah, and I guess to say is right now, also in that movie, we actually get to see, not the same Mewtwo that we saw during the first movie. Now this Mewtwo was actually a very different Mewtwo. You can obviously tell by the voice, of course. But it was obviously very different. Whereas this Mewtwo was actually very hostile. Was only hostile towards this Mewtwo was only hostile only towards humans. But when it comes to Pokemon, Mewtwo will try its best to actually help them out. That's why Mewtwo wanted to try its best to actually help out the Genesect. But however, of course, as I said, the red Genesect really didn't want Mewtwo giving it orders. Which essentially led into the whole conflict between Mewtwo and Genesect. But anyways, everyone, now, I guess I should say this right now. After we're done with these two, I'm actually going to be ending on, that's where I'm going to be ending off this video. And then, after we're done, and then after that, now for the next video, we're actually going to be covering, cover the little waterfall area that we saw back in Lost One Forest. Then most likely, after that is where we're gonna be. Then most likely after that is where we're gonna be going towards a certain cave that I mentioned, that a NPC mentioned to us before. While we were in, while we were in, Route 6. So yeah, that will definitely be something. But then with that said, that's showing me how I'm gonna do this part. And so until the next part, I'll see you guys next time.